Spatial behaviour consists of proximity, orientation, territorial behaviour and movement in a physical setting. Interpersonal attitudes can be shown by the range of variation used by our own organs in sending the signals. Let us have a look at the differing types of spatial behaviour.
Proximity is the distance between two people who are involved in an aspect of communication. Depending on how far apart the two subjects are, it is possible to deduct something about their interpersonal attitudes. This can be seen in everyday situations, such as talking to a person of higher status, different age, or sex.
For an intimate relationship, a gap of 18 inches is the usual norm. The two participants can have bodily contact, can smell each other, and can feel the heat emanating from the other's body.
For a personal relationship, the gap increases to nearer 4 feet. They can touch each other and they can see each other better, but cannot smell each other's breath.
In a social consultative situation, the distance increases to nearer 10 feet. This is most commonly shown in interviews and other work situations. The need for a louder voice is noticeable.
In a public situation, the gap is above 12 feet. This is shown in a number of public speaking exercises, for instance, an assembly or lecture. Changes in proximity made as social moves and encounters vary. They can be made slowly or quickly, in different styles and with different verbal and non-verbal accompaniments.
Orientation is the angle at which one person faces another. It refers only to the orientation of the body, not the head or eyes. The interpersonal attitudes of a person A to a person B is shown in the place A sits down at a table where only B is present.
Height can be changed due to the wearing of high-heeled shoes, standing on a platform, sitting down, standing up, or lying down.
Movement in a physical setting. The significance of spatial positions and movements depend on the physical setting in several ways. Areas having significance of being the territory of some person or group, for example behind a counter or desk.
Areas signifying high or low status, for example a speaking platform or front seats at a lecture or concert hall.
Areas associated with social roles, for example at an interview, the candidate's seat, the chairman's seat and the other interviewer's seat.
Parts of a house have distinctive symbolic significance. Upstairs versus downstairs, the sitting room versus the bedroom, front versus back regions. There are rules and taboos about who may enter different rooms.
Size and shape of a room may act as a constraint on how close and at what angle people sit.
The existence of physical barriers prevent people from sitting as close as they might.
In the communication of interpersonal attitudes, if A likes B, then he will sit closer. The closer the proximity, it has been proven, the greater degree of affiliation.
The orientation will tend to be more side by side, especially when seated at a table. In a situation where two people are facing each other, it is a competitive position, but they are about to have a confrontation. The degree of gaze in this case will be higher.
Orientation can act as a substitute for proximity as an affiliation signal. At a more side-by-side orientation, proximity can be less, and it is a combination which signals greatest intimacy.
Territorial behaviour. Some of the most important aspects of spatial behaviour are connected with territory, establishing it, invading it, and defending it. Territorial behaviour can be split into 3 groups: personal space, personal territory, and home territories.
Personal space. This is the area immediately around the body and is different for each individual. Generally speaking, when A's personal space is violated by B, A will turn his head or body away, hunch up his body and move away. People, for example, may sit separately in a library away from others, and if a stranger sits next to them, they feel uncomfortable. Personal space ceases to function when there is a great violation, for example, in a crowd of people on a crowded bus.
Personal territory. This is a larger area than personal space which an individual owns, such as his house, car or office. More temporary territories include rooms in hotels and tables in a library, for example. And a territory may be established by repeated occupation of an area. In most homes, each member of a family has a bed, a chair, and an area which is regarded as his or her domain. Humans mark their territories by leaving coats on chairs, books on tables, or names on doors. Various kinds of social behaviour are seen as invasions of territory, and this may purely be spatial. In a crowded library, it would not be an invasion to sit next to someone, but in an empty library, it would.
Home territories. These are areas of public space which are used by members of a particular group. Areas frequented by gangs are home territories, and even areas used by people standing talking are temporary home territories. Home territories are indicated by people being in a closed spatial position and a low tone of voice.
As we have seen, spatial behaviour obviously plays an important role in the everyday communication of attitudes between people. See if you can decipher the spatial behavioural patterns in the following situations.